The Kimi Antonelli situation needs to be talked about. I am aware that I did not bring it up in my previous race recap, as I was not aware of what was going on at the time of filming. I had not been made aware of these threats until after I had both filmed, edited, and uploaded the video. But my message to those who are in the Formula One fandom space is this. I cannot condone sending death threats to anybody, especially not public figures, over silly little mistakes. There is no reason to be doing this. It is actually disgusting that anyone would think of doing this, let alone go through with it. There is no reason to be sending death threats to Kimi Antonelli, and I am truly saddened by those who have gone through with that action. How anyone who is a fan of Red Bull, myself included, could do that. Like, I didn't do it, but like, okay, I worded that wrong. Anybody who is a fan of Red Bull, who is a fan of the sport, should not be sending death threats. To those of you who are, like me, a fan of Red Bull and who did send a death threat, I want you to seriously look at yourself in the mirror and think about your actions. Because it's not acceptable ever to do that to anyone over just about anything. I'm sure that there are some extreme circumstances in which death threats might not be the most logical answer, but are, at the very least, somewhat within the realm of possibility, but this is not one of them. And I don't think there really is any situation where there should be that. But sending death threats to a 19-year-old who is competing at a top-level sport is insane work over something that he couldn't have controlled. Now, a lot of people who have been putting a hate train towards Red Bull fans, towards Max fans, towards Red Bull, here's what happened, for those of you who don't know. GP, or Gianpiero Lambiase, for those who aren't in the know, who is Max Verstappen's race engineer, came over the radio in the final lap of the race, or so. I don't know if it was the final lap or the second to last lap, saying that Kimi has let Lando through. What had actually happened is Kimi had a snap of, I believe, oversteer and went wide in one of the corners, giving Lando an opportunity to pass. Lando took that opportunity, because you would, and did pass him, getting him up to fourth in the points and increasing the gap between him and Max for the championship to 12 points, where it had originally been 10. Sky Sports broadcasted this radio message, a radio message that was just his race engineer talking to him. GP has since gone on to apologise to both Kimi and Mercedes, saying that it was an incorrect call and should not have phrased it like that. Helmut Marko, on the other hand, should not, and I cannot believe should not be making those comments still. I'm unaware if he has apologised or retracted his statements, but as far as I'm aware, he has not. I do not know why anyone would ever do this, and it's not the first time it's happened, and it won't be the last, but to anybody who makes any of those sort of threats to any of the drivers should not be calling themselves a fan of the sport. It's the same with the fans who were booing Lando at the Mexican Grand Prix. I'm aware that I have talked on here about my dislike of Lando Norris and my not wanting him to win the championship. He did not deserve to be booed at his own sport for winning. It is the same with the Mercedes fans in 2021, and Mercedes themselves saying that Max Verstappen deserved to crash at the Silverstone Grand Prix in 2021, and it was a lesson well learned. It was not. It was a crash. It is the same with anybody who is commenting stuff like, I hope that, Lando does something like Jules again. That is a disgusting thing to say to anybody, and I cannot believe you are capitalizing on somebody else's death to threaten someone else. We can all be mature, we all should be mature, and talk about our dislikes in a rational manner. There is no need to be threatening people with violence or death. That is disgusting behaviour, and I cannot believe is still happening in our sport. Actually, I can, because it is happening, and nobody should be doing this. And to anybody who says, oh, it's the Drive to Survive fans, it's the DTS cult, it's the fangirls that are ruining the sport. No. It is people like that who are ruining the sport for everybody else by making all of us look terrible. Thank you for listening, and I hope this message reaches the right people. I'm aware that sometimes my takes aren't the best, but I could not stand by and just let people do that. It is a disgusting thing, and I don't understand why anyone would do that. Thank you for listening.